Welcome to the Amphenol Broadband Solutions training on the mini connector installation. In this training, we'll provide a mini connector overview, explain the mini connector features and benefits, look at the prep tools required for cable preparation and connector installation, show how to prepare the cable, and show how to install the mini connectors. With the increase in services and the ever-increasing demands of high-technology signal processing equipment used in the head-ends, it requires more density of equipment and has driven the need for smaller profile, high-quality products without compromising performance. Mini coaxial cable is smaller than RG6 series cable and has only a few more dB of loss at 1 GHz compared to RG59 cable, allowing cable runs of up to 200 feet. It has high structural return loss for quality signal transmissions and high shielding to prevent crosstalk between cables. It's available in multiple colors for easy identification and available in cable bundles for fewer cable runs, saving time and cost. On the left is a picture of a 12-channel head-end rack that has 48 RG6 cables. On the right is the same rack using mini coaxial cables. It's clean, organized, and accessible. One of the big drivers for the mini cable and MCX connectors was the introduction of the Cisco UBR10K platforms. The Amphenol Broadband Solutions connector meets all the electrical specifications needed for the UBR10K platform and beyond. And mechanically, it meets the upstream card's need to properly fit into the required retainer used on the back. Let's take a look at the MCXFPQ quad connector. It's a one-piece connector with a fixed pin design. It's a Crimp style connector and can be installed in the field. It's an all-brass, high-quality design. Next, we'll look at the ASFPSLCQ Quad Mini RG59 connector. It's a one-piece connector as well, with a fixed pin design. It's a compression-style connector and the first one on the market. It has a unique viewing window to ensure the cable is completely inserted into the connector, and this can also be installed in the field and is an all-brass, high-quality design. Next, we'll compare the Amphenol Broadband Solutions fixed pin design to the competitor's sliding pin design. The Amphenol Broadband Solutions fixed pin design may look like a blind entry for the center conductor, but it's not. The conical shaped entry ensures that the center conductor is directed towards the center of the fixed pin. An advantage of the fixed pin is that it's always in the correct position, unlike sliding pin designs that could be recessed into the connector due to improper insertion of the cable. The holding force of the center conductor to the seizure pin is greater than 150 grams. Another advantage is that the cable can be inserted and reinserted before final termination is needed. The Mini RG59 quad compression connector has a patented cable insertion viewing window, which helps to ensure that the cable is fully seated inside of the connector. Once you see the braid fully in the window, you know the cable is inserted properly. Now let's look at the sliding pin design. Due to the design of the sliding pin, it only allows for a single insertion before terminating the connector. There is no visual indication that the cable is completely inserted inside of the connector. Also, the mating pin and cable can move and can back out, making the pin too short, and possibly the center conductor not making contact with the pin. Next, we'll look at the tools needed for cable preparation and connector installation. Cable prep tools. a 1/4 inch by 1/8 inch for the MCX Crimp connector, and a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch for the mini RG59 compression connector, a crimp tool for the MCX Crimp connector, and a compression tool for the mini RG59 compression connector, a cable cutters for a nice clean straight cut, braid brush for folding back the braid, and a knife to assist in removing the foil. Now we're ready to prep the cable. I'll be using a cable cutter that has a curved cutting edge. The curved cutting edge gives a cleaner cut and helps to maintain the round diameter of the cable. Using the cable cutters, make a straight, clean cut. This is a very important step to ensure that the cut is straight and the cable end is round as shown on the left, and not flattened as shown on the right, as this will have an impact on the proper center conductor length and on a clean stripping of the cable. We're going to show the steps for both the MCX Crimp connector and also the mini RG59 compression connector. The preparation is slightly different for each one, so we'll show them separately. First, we'll show the RG59 mini quad compression connector steps. The mini RG59 requires a 1/4 inch for the center conductor and a 1/4 inch for the dielectric and braid. We'll be using the cable prep CPT 7538Q quad mini cable coaxial prep tool, which will remove the outer jacket and expose the center conductor. Place the cable with the straight cut end into the cable prep tool until it hits the cable stop. This will ensure 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch dimensions are achieved. If the cable end is angled, you won't get the proper 1/4 inch length of the center conductor. Rotate the prep tool about 4 times until you hear and feel it stop cutting. It's important that the blades are sharp to ensure a clean cut. Pinch the end of the prep tool and pull it straight off the end of the cable. Inspect the cable, ensuring there's no pieces of braid or foil touching the center conductor. Long braids or braids wrapped around the center conductor indicate dull blades. After preparation, observe for scored and cut braid. This would indicate that you rotated too many times and cut too deep. Next, we'll fold back the braid. This can be done several ways. Some cable prep tools come with built-in brushes that can be used, or you can attach a Velcro backing strip to the side or back of your prep tool, which I'll be using here. With the brush the braid evenly back over the jacket and brush at an angle on the top of the foil to expose the seam. Another method is to use the dedicated cable braid brush. With quad cable, the outer foil needs to be removed. With a knife, score the seam and peel the foil off completely. With a brush the inner braid evenly over the outer braid and jacket. Inspect the braid fold back, ensuring it's uniform around the cable. By using the proper prep tool and folding the braid back properly, the exposed foil will be 1/4 inch and the center conductor will be 1/4 inch. The connector flat hex nut is about 1/4 inch and can be used as a reference for the proper center conductor length. Now we can install the connector. Align the prep cable end with the post in the connector at a slight angle. Since the mini cable diameter is so small, support the cable jacket close to the bottom of the folded back braid to prevent the cable from bending and kinking. Slide the cable into the connector and push the connector onto the cable, applying pressure along with a slight twisting motion. Continue pushing until the braid fills the entire cable insertion viewing window. Before compressing the connector, ensure the compression tool is properly adjusted. For this tool, the compression head should be located at the third line from the left. Now we're ready to compress the connector. Seat the connector and cable into the compression tool and compress fully. The connector installation is now complete. Next, we'll show the MCX quad crimp connector installation steps. The MCX crimp connector requires a 1/4 inch for the center conductor and 1/8 of an inch for the dielectric and braid. We'll be using the cable prep RBC MCXFPQ mini coaxial prep tool, which will remove the jacket, outer braid, outer foil, and expose the center conductor. Place the cable with the straight cut end into the prep tool until it hits the cable stop. This will ensure 1/4 inch by 1/8 inch dimensions are achieved. If the cable end is angled, you won't get the proper 1/4 inch length for the center conductor. The MCX prep tool removes the jacket, outer braid, and outer foil, and will require about 8 revolutions of the tool to accomplish this. Rotate the prep tool about 8 times. Now each tool will be slightly different depending on the sharpness of the blades, so you should practice a few cuts to determine how many rotations are needed for your particular tool. Pinch the end of the prep tool and pull it straight off the end of the cable. Don't rotate the prep tool too many times or you may cut off the inner braid, as shown here. With a brush, brush the inner braid evenly over the jacket. Inspect the braid fold back, ensuring it's uniform around the cable. By using the proper prep tool and folding the braid back properly, the exposed foil will be 1/8 of an inch and the center conductor will be 1/4 of an inch. Now we can install the connector. Align the prep cable end with the post and the connector at a slight angle. Slide the cable into the connector. Push the connector onto the cable, applying pressure along with a slight twisting motion. Continue pushing until the connector covers the braid and no braid is exposed. Now we're ready to crimp the connector. We'll be using the White Sands Hex Crimp tool, HCT 483. It has 2 hex positions and we'll be using the small hex position. Seat the connector and cable into the crimp tool's small hex jaw and position the crimp line on the connector to the right side of the crimp jaw. Close the jaws of the crimp tool until the jaws meet. The MCX crimp connector installation is now complete. Let's review what we've covered in this training session on the mini connectors. We provided an overview of the mini connector, showed the mini connector features and benefits. We looked at the tools required for prepping and installing a connector, showed the proper cable preparation steps, and showed how to successfully install the mini RG59 compression and MCX crimp connector installation onto the cable. Thank you for viewing this training on the Amphenol Broadband Solutions mini connector installation. For additional training topics, see our website at www.amphenolbroadband.com.